You saw this coming. You didn't fall for the head fake. There was the report this morning that Oregon and Washington, the momentum had died for them going to the Big Ten. Wouldn't you know it, like 3 hours later, I think it was, Oregon and Washington comes out. They are more or less a done deal heading to the Big Ten Conference. So what does this mean? Right, the question we have to ask, what does this mean? We'll talk about what it means for college football, but the first part for the Big Ten is it's just huge for them from a revenue standpoint. You added two enormous brands, Washington with the Seattle market, Oregon with their Nike money. You expand your reach even more to the West Coast, including USC and UCLA that are joining the conference. Very big for them from a brand and dollars and cents standpoint. Now, for Oregon and Washington, in the exact same vein, big payday for them. They're going to make a whole lot more money than they were going to make should they have stayed in the Pac-12 conference. Now they're headed to the Big Ten, like I just talked about. They're getting paid. So from what really runs this whole thing, which is unfortunate, but it's kind of the world we're living in, money calls the shots here. Both of these operations, the Big Ten, Oregon, and Washington, are getting paid. All right? Now, make sure you're subscribed. We talk ball every single day. We are eventually going to get to talk college football and just college football and put realignment on the back burner here very soon. We got you covered for all things college football 365 days a year right here on the On3 YouTube channel on the Hard Count. Appreciate you subscribing in advance for that. Now, what does it mean from a football standpoint? I think it means Oregon and Washington are safe on their own island that is the Big Ten Conference, and they're going to be in a relevant conference. Because the Pac-12, it was really a matter of time before these schools left, but should they have stayed, Oregon and Washington would have just been holding this thing together like Spider-Man in that movie where he's got both the webs across holding the boat together. Like that was what Oregon and Washington was to the Pac-12 conference if they had stayed. And the Pac-12 now likely drifts into either irrelevance or non-existence. Like a lot of people are asking, hey, what happens to the Pac-12? Does it still exist? I don't know, but it will not exist the way that we used to know the Pac-12 to be. Like it's probably going to be a lot more similar to what we have known the Mountain West to be. No knock on the Mountain West, but that's just not what the Pac-12 is going to be going forward, what it was previously, okay? So my big question from a football standpoint for these schools, Oregon and Washington, how does this impact recruiting? Because relevance in my mind, outside of money, it means visibility, it means exposure, it means you're likely playing for the highest stakes in college football. That's got to be attractive to recruits. The visibility part alone from the TV deal alone, not having to play on a streaming service alone, like that's got to impact recruiting in a positive way. And Oregon's already been cooking with some gas on the trail. What happens to Washington? I'm curious to see what happens to them at a macro level over the next couple of years as they join the Big Ten Conference. I'm not predicting it's going to just boom, but I think it does help it more than where they would have been should they have stayed in the Pac-12. So when it comes to the Saturday aspect of this, which is really what I think we all care about the most if you're tuned into this show, like we care about fall Saturdays, period, mic drop, the end. Realignment is a part of like getting to Saturday, and I understand that, but this does feel a little bit weird. Like the weird part of this is, well, what happens to Oregon, Oregon State? What happens to Washington, Washington State? Those are some great rivalries that we get in this beautiful game. Those are two games that we really enjoy. Forget the other games that we were going to lose now without Oregon and Washington being in the Pac-12. Like the history, we're starting to tug away at some of the fabric of that really built us to where we are right now. So that kind of feels a little bit funny. Now, I'm not saying college football is going in the wrong direction. I'm not saying college football is going downhill. Like, as long as they're playing the games on Saturday, we're going to be in good shape. So for Oregon and Washington now, my question is, what does it look like when we get that schedule from the Big Ten? What is the future of these Saturday experiences look like? Well, I'll say this. I think I get a little bit more excited about this move when I think about some of those matchups. You hate what it's doing to the history of the sport that we used to get with their matchups, but now, I mean, Oregon, Ohio State, it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. Washington, Michigan, that's going to be a great matchup. You get Penn State headed to Autzen. Like, yeah, I'm locked in for that. So when they actually get to playing the game, I think it's going to make for a phenomenal product, which as a result will yield a lot of eyeballs, which as a result of that will yield a lot of dollars and cents like we've already talked about. But when that gets here, then I think I'll feel a little bit more at ease with it, as I'm sure you will as well. But the bottom line is we are hurtling towards a college football world that is even more dominated by the big brands. What happens to Florida State next? I don't know, but I cannot see a world where Florida State and Clemson just sit tight in the ACC as we see the Big Ten making moves and adding teams like this, and the Big 12 is making moves. Like, I don't think the ACC just hangs out, and even more so, I don't think Florida State and Clemson just hang out with how much money they're bringing in. So Oregon and Washington both headed to the Big Ten. The tectonic plates of college football, they're shifting. Enjoy what we have right now. This is the last year of college football as we have known it. Things are changing. I'm not saying change is bad, but I'm just saying all the memories and the things that you've loved about college football up until this point, they're not going away, but it's going to look different. Regardless, we'll talk about it every single day right here on the Hard Count on the On3 YouTube channel. Live multiple times a week, 11 a.m. Eastern. Going to be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday when we get into the season, so make sure you're locked in and subscribed. We're going to talk just college football here pretty soon when this realignment stuff blows over. Love y'all. Appreciate y'all. We're going to keep this party rolling. We will see y'all next time. Hey, y'all. Thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also, be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.